Welcome back to Learn Economia. Today we are going to discuss a very important topic on principal agent problem. So let's have a detailed look onto the same. Before proceeding to the session, let me give you a roadmap to the session. So first of all, I'll be introducing the topic to you. Then we'll be having the definition of principal agent problem as such. Now we will be looking on to the worsening conditions as far as the principal agent problem is concerned. After that, we will be looking on to some examples related to principal agent problem. Then we will be looking on to some key points related to principal agent problem, and finally we will be concluding the session. So in the very beginning, we could find that the context in which we are living, this is all about imperfection. So this imperfection is something that will be affecting every decision that we will be making. So we are having an imperfectly competitive market structure around us. So for the same reason, what we have is not a kind of perfect knowledge. Instead, what we are having is information asymmetry. So just take the case of an example here. So you can consider a realistic market where you will be having two persons. One is the buyer and the other one is the seller, isn't it? So just assume that these two people are engaging in some economic transaction. So what is the buyer doing? The buyer is going to the market to purchase some commodity. And what is the seller doing? The seller would be selling the commodity to the buyer. Now we are dealing with the same commodity, right? So both the buyer as well as the seller would be dealing with the same commodity. You know that as far as the commodity is concerned, this commodity will be having some quality, or else it will be having certain features. Now, you need to understand that the buyer will be having some knowledge related to the quality of the product, and also the seller would be having some knowledge related to the quality of the product. But never the buyer's knowledge would be equal to the seller's knowledge. And this is it all about the context of information asymmetry. If the seller is having more knowledge regarding the quality of the commodity, which he thinks that very important to hide it from the buyer, the seller would be hiding the same from the buyer. Sometimes the quality of the commodity might be bad. The commodity might be a bad quality good. So it might be a kind of commodity that might be having some bad features. For example, just have a realistic scenario where the buyer is in the market to purchase some organic vegetables. Okay. And the buyer is in front of the seller, and the buyer, after seeing the vegetable, he might be asking the seller whether it is organic or not. But actually, this might be not organic. The vegetables might be having some content of fertilizers, some chemicals, but the seller might be hiding this information from the buyer. So why is the seller hiding the information? Because the seller knows it very well that if he tells the truth to the buyer will not be purchasing the product. So what the seller would be doing is that the seller would say that this is organic vegetable, so you can get it from me. So I am the only seller who is actually selling organic vegetable in the market. So since it is organic vegetable, the price of this vegetable is a little high. So in most of the instances, the buyer might not be having any testing tool and all to test whether the vegetable is organic or not. So what he would be doing is that he might be trusting the words of the seller, and he might be giving a high price to the product to get this vegetable which the seller pretend to be organic, isn't it? So what is happening? The seller in this context is having more information regarding the product, and the buyer is having less information regarding the product. So what happened here was that the seller with more information was treating the buyer with less information. So this is what happens in the context of information asymmetry. So after some point of time, since the buyer was using some inorganic vegetable or some vegetable which might be containing some fertilizer content or chemical content, he might be falling ill later on. So it's a kind of uncertainty that is happening here, and the buyer is actually facing a risk, but he's not, he doesn't know about that because he was trusting the words of the seller. So the person with more information might be having a tendency to cheat the person with less information. Why? Because as far as every rational economic agent is concerned, he or she would be intending to maximize his or her profit or utility. So in this instance, the seller would be trying to maximize his satisfaction or profit. So as far as sale is concerned, the seller would be trying to maximize his profit, and that is the main reason why he is cheating the buyer. So the seller gains here at the cost of the buyer, isn't it? So this is what is happening in the imperfectly competitive market structure, and this is what is leading to information asymmetry. So we have to consider the principal agent problem in the setting of information asymmetry. So here we have to consider two parties or two entities. So let it be two parties. The two parties, one of the parties can be identified as principal. Okay. The other party is known as agent. So we are having two parties here. So we could find that there exists a conflict of interest between these two people. So principal would be having some interest and agent would be having some other interest. So what happens is that the principal would be delegating some responsibility to the agent. So what the principal would be doing is that the principal delegates some responsibility to agent. So when the principal gives some responsibility to agent, what happens here is that the principal thinks that the agent will be making this particular act possible, or he will be doing these duties in a respectable manner so as to satisfy the intention of the principal. But unfortunately, the agent will be having his own interest. Okay, so the principal is thinking that agent will be working for the interest of the principal, but actually agent will not do that because agent will be having his or her own intention. So here what happens is that one party act on behalf of the other party. So this one party that we are having here is agent. So agent will be acting on behalf of the other party called principal. So this is what is actually something that we intend to have. But actually what happens is that the context will be moving against our intention. The principal would be moving with some intention that the agent would be obeying the orders of the principal, but this will not happen. Agent will be having his or her own objective function or intentions or interest. Now, what are the worsening conditions of principal agent problem here? So as far as the worsening conditions are concerned, this worsening condition would be intensifying the matter. So it will be complicating the matter. Okay. So I told you that there exists a difference of interest between the principal and agent. The principal will be having some interest and he wants the agents to carry forward such interest. But unfortunately, as far as agent is concerned, the agent will be having some other set of interest. And the agent go after his or her own interest. So here exists a problem with information that is called asymmetric knowledge. The principal, in this case, the principal is a person who does not know the intentions of whom? The intentions of the agent. Okay. And also, unfortunately, the principal is not having any method or any provision to punish the agent. So the agent will be having a tendency to go after his or her own interest. So here, what the principal is having is called agency cost, because the principal was trusting the agent, but unfortunately the agent was cheating the principal, right? So the principal would be suffering from something called agency cost. So we call this problem as agency problem. So we can call principal agent problem as principal agent problem, could be called as agency problem. Why? This is so because the agent was cheating the principal, right? Now, unfortunately, the principal is having no information. So this person is having no information regarding the intention of the agent. The agent always acts in the way that would be satisfying the intentions of the agent. So the principal lacks the means to ensure that the agent is always working for the best interest of the principal. So this kind of a contrasting scenario will lead to what is called a principal agent problem. Now let's have some examples of principal agent problem here. The first example can be sometimes what you can see in the labor market. So whenever you are called for an interview, you will be saying that you are hardworking. You will say that you are hardworking. So what the company will be doing is that the company might be having a tendency to trust you. So the company trusts you and the company takes you, isn't it? The company appoints you. But after appointment, after getting job, what happens is that since you are having your own intentions, you will be less hardworking. So you might be lazy. You would be lazy. So who is suffering here? The company is suffering because the company was initially trusting you. The company was delegating some responsibility to you, and you were supposed to do some acts or duties on behalf of the company. But unfortunately, after getting job, you would be lazy and you would be moving away from the interest of the company, and you will go for your own intentions. Again, let's consider the scenario of election. So before election, what happens is that there would be the candidates coming to you, the people, the representatives from various parties, party people will come to you asking for vote, isn't it? So what you will be thinking is that, okay, if I give vote to this person, he might be coming to power, and when he comes to power, he will make all these things possible. So sometimes the road that is in front of your house might be in a damaged condition, it might be in a bad condition. So you might be asking the party people that, okay, would you be actually making this road okay once you come to power? So the party people might say, that, okay, definitely we will be doing that. So if if the candidate from a particular party, for example, a person A, this candidate, if he says that definitely when I come to power, I will do this particular act, it will be the first priority that I'll be considering. So this repairing of road is my first priority, and this is what I'll be doing once I come to power. So you might be trusting the words of this person called person A, or which is a candidate. So what will happen after election? After election, he might be forgetting this promise. So what person A will be doing is that A will have his or her own interest. A will have his or her own interest in this case. So in such a context, what happens is that after election, if at all person A comes to power, person A will be deviating from the promises that he has already made to you. So you as a principal here was delegating some responsibility to the agent who is a candidate A, but unfortunately after election, the candidate was moving away from his responsibility. So again, it's a principal agent problem. Now, coming to certain important aspects related to principal agent problem, first of all, we have to consider the nature of the problem. So as far as the agent is concerned, so we could find that this person will be having his own interest. So he will be giving priority to his own interest. Okay, the priority will be given to his own interest. So for the same reason, in the beginning, the agent might be having some kind of dilemma situation between the interest of the principal and the interest of the agent. And once the agent finds that it is now okay to deal with his own interest, he will be going for that, isn't it? And unfortunately, the principal is a person who will not be having any ability to control the action of the agent. So in this scenario, this person will be helpless. The principal will be helpless. He was delegating some responsibility to the agent, but unfortunately, agent will not do that, and agent will go after his or her own intentions. And what are the causes of principal agent problem? The first important cause is a conflicting interest. So the principal might be having one interest in the case of election and all. What is your intention? You as the principal want to have something called road repair. Road repair. So you want your candidate to spend some money after election for this road repair. But as far as the candidate, that is person A, who was a candidate, who was the winner of the election is concerned, this person is called as the agent, he would be having his own selfish motives. So if he gets some money, he would be spending that money for some selfish motive. So road repair and all will be given less priority by this person after election. So the main intention here is asymmetric information. So as far as the person A, who is a candidate, is concerned, who is the agent, so this person is concerned, this person is having more information regarding his or her own intention. This person has more information on his or her own intention, isn't it? Now what happens to the principal? So in the case of election, the principal is you. As far as you are concerned, you have less information on intentions on agents. Less information regarding intention of somebody called agent in this context, isn't it? Now, so if you look at the methods to come out of principal agent problem, there have been several solutions coming. So if you look at something like a company, so I told you about the labor market. Initially, when you come to the interview, you say that you are hardworking, but after getting into job, you might be lazy. So in this case, what the company can do is that the company can say that. So we are dealing with the labor market scenario and to deal with the solutions here. So let's consider that example. So what the company can do is that the company can say that, okay, what we do is that we will be analyzing your work, and if we are satisfied, if we see that you are hardworking, what we will do is that we will be sharing a part of the profit to you. So now what happens? You are encouraged. You are encouraged to work more. You are encouraged to work. Again, also the company can provide you some termination threat. The company might say that if you do not work properly, you will be terminated. So you will be terminated. So now you will be afraid and you will be working for more hours, or you will be hard work. Now, in the contract that is between you and the company can actually state these things in a very specified and clear manner. The company can say that in the contract itself that if at all we find that you are not hardworking in between, definitely we have got all the right to dismiss you from the company. Or else the company can actually connect compensation or your salary to your performance. So in this way also the company can prevent something called principal agent problem to a great extent. So in short, what we were considering here is that we are talking about a scenario of imperfection, and as a result of this imperfection there can be context of uncertainty and there can be context of risk, so that losses can happen to person with less information. And if there is principal agent problem, that will be affecting efficiency will be coming down. So once you make an effective decision making, you can reduce principal agent problem. Principal agent problem can be reduced to a great extent with more information. And if there is asymmetric information, definitely there would be problem, but we can have some means to collect more information to reduce the context of asymmetric information. And also adverse effects can be reduced. Adverse effects in the form of adverse selection, like the bad selection, like what the company was doing. So the company was going for a bad selection when the company was selecting you as their worker when you were actually telling a lie to the company that you are actually hardworking, but after your job you started to be lazy, isn't it? So the principal agent problem can be better analyzed, and the principal can have more information so as to promote better outcomes, so that his agency cost will be reduced. So that's all for today. You can download Learn Oikonomia app for getting previous year question papers and answer, free study materials, live as well as recorded classes, free MCQ based weekly tests. So I'll be providing the link of the same in the description box. Also, you can be a part of a free Telegram community. I'll be providing the link of that also in the description. That's all for today. You can like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more videos. Thank you.